All right. Should be up and running here. Hope everybody had a nice weekend. We got about 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes until the close. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for April 11th, 2022. Q's down 2.38%, SPY down 1.75. So we talked about how in the past couple weeks, SPY showed a little bit of relative strength. However, we keep getting, or we got another one today, gap downs. Okay, so we kind of got this gap down. And as I talked about initially on the move up, we said, okay, retracement back to the 20 MA should be a bullish opportunity, a buyable opportunity. But sometimes you can do things in a way, you can pull back in a way that's not bullish. So that's why, it's always important to see how we get to that price level. Sometimes we'll get these questions like, if it goes to this price, is it a buy? If it goes to that price, is it a sell? And, the answer is always, well, it depends. How did it get there? And so we got another igniting gap here on the Qs after basing for a bit on the hourly, gapping down and looking lower. Now we came into today neutral to bearish, but with today's gap down, clearing the lows, right? We are back to bearish, okay? So it's looking like the monthly buy setup, okay, on the SPY is not going to get much follow through. We're actually starting to fail on it. The weekly sell setup, which we highlighted last week, I was saying, we have some conflict between the different time frames, but when it comes to actual patterns like this weekly sell setup, right, we do have actual patterns here on the Qs and SPY. So going into tomorrow, sorry, that's the closing bell, all out bearish. And then here's the daily, which never really had a pattern, but had a pretty strong retracement, but now also starting to lose that 20 MA and doing so a lot of the move with these gaps, okay? So we kind of saw this kind of change and not really get much of a bounce, but also just in the way that the pullback was being created was through gaps. And you can see that continuing, and that is not bullish and really should stay bearish until, I guess the hourly would have to transition to an uptrend, and then I'd be neutral from there. We definitely have to see something else. So right now, just bearish. All right, going into tomorrow on the Qs and SPY. All right, let's get into the plays from today. Now, because of today's gap down, I really wanted something short because I thought, if the market continues weak, I want to participate and go for what I thought was the best gap down. However, this was pretty spready at the open and actually did have a good setup that didn't work, but I just let it go because we were seeing a lot of spread on this. 20-30 cents was like pretty common. So yeah, that's a pretty good 1 minute base breakdown. I don't have a problem with playing that. And if I had played it and not worked, I don't think I should feel bad. Okay, but this is my kind of play. I like this play a lot. Low of the day base breakdown. We've gone over a lot of these lately on this kind of gap, and so I like the gap a good amount. Gapping under a green bar. Is that what we got on? Yeah, on Friday. Remember the BCRX, right? Nice gap. That was an opening base breakdown. So yeah, I like it. Eventually it did work. Sammy had a nice call on this into the afternoon. Nice base breakdown there. So it worked in the afternoon better off the 15 and the 5 once this base broke. Okay. All right. So then eventually a nice follow through there on the BCYC. So I totally missed out on this. I didn't catch it in the morning or the afternoon. Morning when it worked, but in the afternoon definitely would have made up for it. Now, what I did play, which we quite a few of us played in the room, and I had to play it twice, was the CTRM. Now, I don't know if anybody stuck with it and didn't manage the way that I manage. That's the thing. When I call these plays, I'm going to tell you where I'm getting in, where I'm getting out, and sometimes, I get shaken out of stuff, and that's there for everybody to see because there's no, waffling back and forth of, oh, I'm thinking about getting out or I might get out. If I'm trailing it, I'm trailing it. I'm telling you exactly where I'm trailing it to, okay? So let's go over the CTRM, though. First play, okay, playing this 1 minute base breakout right here. Okay, base breakout. Now, it initially broke out big bar there on the 2 minute. So 2 minute. So 2 minute there inside bar. Now, if you play a lot of breakouts or you've seen my management plan, you probably are familiar with the breakout no follow through. Breakout inside bar. Notice how biggest volume bar, maybe the biggest bar. It looks like it's a little bit smaller than that bar, but an igniting bar that's getting an inside bar. So whenever we get that, the concern is, it's might fail, because what happened here, right? Shorts all kind of use the same place to get out, high of the day. That's a pretty common place. And then longs also got in all at the same place. So, we got a little bit of a crowded entry. Okay, so if everybody's getting in and out at the same time, right, there's not going to be much continuation. What we need are shorts to still be in this and longs still wanting to buy for this to keep on going. So I did raise the stop up, okay, to 189, and eventually actually trailed right here. So we got, I wanted to see this kind of pivot first. Now I could have gotten out there, but I thought, I could too easily get shaken out. I just want to see this one move, and if it pivots from there, I'll raise the stop, which seemed like, the exact right thing to do at that time. So I thought I was, being a little bit savvy there, because otherwise the actual trail was under 191, and I put it, once I waited till it pivoted, so we went to 188 actually. So, but eventually it did trail. So we did lose a little bit on this right there. Okay. Now, how do we know that it's a shakeout, or how do we anticipate that it's a shakeout? The bar that got us out didn't get any follow through, right? Immediately the next bar was a green bar, and then it paused. Okay. So I decided to wait for the next entry. Now, there were a couple of more aggressive ways I could have played it, this being one of them, the re-entry. Now, why did I not want to be aggressive with it? Is because at the time we hadn't broken $2. So you can imagine, okay, we're dealing with this declining 20. If you look to the left, there's still resistance in the way. Okay. Now, why am I playing something that's still at resistance? Because we got the big volume right at the open. Okay. And this was showing a lot of relative strength. The market was staying weak, okay, while this was basing at the highs. So I had two things that told me, okay, this is probably something that may go today, okay? So resistance. And I told the room too, if you decide to pass on this play, you looked at my play, you looked at my numbers, and you said, what's resistance, I'm going to play it. That's completely fine, okay? The reasons that I was willing to play this little bit of a flawed play, because the resistance is still in the way, is because it was showing momentum in two ways. One, a lot of volume at the open, okay, but really above average volume at the open. Look at that. I mean, you look at the previous days, you can't even see the volume. Really above average volume and relative strength. Market's going lower, this can't get off the highs. Okay, so we got shaken out. Okay, so now we're in this position here. All right, we already got out of it, and what's it doing? It's trying to creep back towards the high. It starts to base. Okay, so we did a replay. Okay, 195 by 189. Okay, 6 cent stop. All right, 6 cent stop. Got triggered back in. Okay, targets. I was saying once we take out that 200, we'll start looking for targets. So above $2, we'll look at it. And then once it actually got going there, it's a nice little shake out there. It was funny too, because someone asked, they're like, should we be concerned, which is valid, why, that this thing is not going? I said, yeah, it might be a concern. If it can't break the $2, it's obviously not gonna work. But, that shakeout was probably people thinking the same thing, giving up on the play, right? Thinking, should have gone. It's breaking under the 20 MA. Well, then what happened? There we go. So, good hold. There wasn't, like I said, there wasn't anything I could really do with it. I said, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? But nice pop there. So we took a third on the first pop. We did penny by penny because it was such a big move. Then the next one we did 1 minute bar by bar on the next third. Okay, and that got us out right there under 210. And then the last piece, because we had this 15-minute, that was a breakout with big volume, biggest bar. I said trail to the inside bar. Okay, so under 204. So overall, it's still nice. I mean, we only lost about a third of an hour on the first play. And then the replay made, I don't know, like two plus. So that was fine. Okay. So you can see kind of this pattern. It's good, especially if you play a lot of breakouts, to be familiar with. You know, explosive move initially, but a lot of times if it doesn't continue, you get an inside bar. The inside bar is your warning. Okay, it might be done. Okay, so you see we got it there, and then this morning also on the 2 minute. But the nice thing is that when we got it on there it is on the 2 minute. When we got it on the 15, this thing was basically had reached 3 Rs. So that was, at least we can start to take some and have a nice play. The initial pop on this one, yeah, it was a little bit shy of only 1 R. So there wasn't really that much to protect on the first one. So that's why, I was trying to be a little bit looser with that initial entry on the BCYC. Because that wasn't enough, right? You can see the difference. I mean, look at the difference in the moves, right? So this was the, follow through on the first breakout. And then we took some there, and then we got more follow through there. So you can see kind of like the difference, that bar versus, this move up. So this actually, we got to trail nice and tight, and then make sure not to give too much back on the rest of the play. And that's because, I would have liked to have gone hourly bar by bar, but look at the size of this bar. And at the time, it wasn't even finished, so the stop is still down here. That's a lot to give back. Right, we're talking about basically a 25-cent bar on a 6-cent stop. That's going to be too much of a reversal to trail to, so that's why we did. And for a little bit, it looked like it actually may try to go up, but eventually, if you had done the hourly, also would have trailed under there, which is not too bad of a trail either. Okay. All right. So going into tomorrow, bearish on the Qs and SPY. All right, we are not doing a very bullish pullback here. Okay, so bearish going into tomorrow. All right, and then we do have earnings season picking up this week a little bit, but probably won't really kick up until 2 weeks from now. We also have a holiday on Friday, so markets are closed. All right, that's going to do it for today's market wrap. Hope you had a nice day, and we'll be back at it tomorrow. I'll talk to you then.